Okay, clearly you couldn't hear me. Thank you for that, Gustavo. A lot of people let me know they weren't going to be able to make it, but are going to watch the recording. So those of you who were here live, congratulations. You get to ask questions. Those of you watching recorded, no big deal. Just send me your questions and I'm happy to help. My purpose really is to try and demystify using AI and using the different tools in your business. I have put a lot of energy into different AI tools over the last year. And I'm super excited about what it means to my business and how I've been able to use those tools. And so I want to share with you guys on a monthly basis kind of things that I am seeing that business people and real estate agents can use to enhance their business, things that you may not have thought about. So if you missed it, last month I did kind of an intro to AI. And during that intro, I talked about the different AI platforms. And if you want to link to it, it's on my YouTube channel, but let me know and my team and I can send it to you. But that intro basically went through, okay, what is ChatGPT and why would you use it? What is Claude and why would you use it? What is Grok and why would you use it? And what is Notebook LM and why you would use it? So if you haven't watched that video, find it or email me or text me and I'll get you a copy of that video. That gives you a starting point to what are these tools that John is talking about and how the heck do I use them? I'm going to continue on from there and kind of teach you a little bit more about the tools as we go forward and update you on some new things that have happened. The first thing I want to share is a real basic understanding that the tools I just talked about are called large language models. Think of them like a chat bot. You're talking to the computer and the computer is talking back. Now, a lot of the systems now have the ability to actually do speech. So you can literally talk to them and they can talk back. But most of it is done via typing still, whether you're typing on your phone or typing on your computer. You're doing a lot of interface with the computer just by asking it questions. And I'm going to repeat a little bit of what I talked about on the last webinar because it's critical to what we're going to talk about today, which is how do you get better results from AI? How do you get what you want out of it? And that's a lot of what we're going to talk about. And so I want to make it clear. Using AI properly means that you are treating it like an assistant that is super smart, but doesn't thoroughly understand you or your business. And so you have to educate it. Every time you talk to it, you have to tell it, hey, here's who you are as the user, who I am, but you also have to educate the system on who you want them to be. So it's kind of like a role-playing game. And you say, hey, I want you right now to be an expert in blank. And that really helps when you tell it context of who you want it to be. But before I go too deep into all of that, I want to explain that a lot of people talk about AI tools, and there's many, many tools that are out there that use AI, that use a link to ChatGPT or to Gemini or Claude or any of those things, but they're actually created for a singular purpose. So there are systems like Canva, that Canva has AI built in, but what it is Canva is made for an exact purpose. And so if you're using a tool that is made for an exact purpose, all it does is work for that purpose. It's really, really good, but you can spend a lot of money buying tools that handle specific individual purposes, and you can save a lot of that money by just going to the source. And that's what I believe in. I think there's very few of these tools that you actually have to buy separate from the basic ChatGPT, maybe Claude, maybe Grok, but really ChatGPT can do 99% of what you need until you start getting an understanding of how much deeper you want to dive. And then you might decide to add one of the other programs. Like you might decide to add Claude, or you might decide to add Grok. But right now, I'm going to keep your focus on ChatGPT. And I'm going to make it really clear that there's lots of tools out there that you can buy that will perform a particular task. You can get image generation tools. You can get thumbnail generation tools. You can get video generation tools. The truth is you can do a lot of that yourself without a lot of knowledge, because ChatGPT can teach you how to use ChatGPT. And so I want to make this as interactive as I can. The number of people here are growing. I'm happy to hear that. And so I'm gonna give you guys some things that I want you to input on your computer as we're talking, and you're gonna try the same thing. And I'm gonna want you to ask questions. So if you have questions, put them into chat. If you are watching live, I may ask you to unmute and talk me through your question or do, go through a scenario. My goal today is to go a lot slower than what I went last month. Last month, I covered a lot of information in an hour. Today, I'm going to cover a little bit of information, but go deeper to help you understand how to use those tools. Okay, so if you have any questions right now or things you want to make sure that I cover during this hour that we're together, please post it right now into chat. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and take off onto my journey of kind of what I want to show you guys. So the first thing I'll tell you is I am a firm believer in the $20 a month paid tier for ChatGPT. There's a lot of things that you get through this tier that you do not get when you have the free tier. And you can do a lot with it that makes it well worth $20 a month. So if you haven't signed in before, if you haven't used it before, you really just start right here with a very simple spot where you can ask anything. And you can use it for brainstorming. You can use it for specific business development ideas. The key that I want you to understand is you have to first go in baby steps. So if you hired a brand new employee right now and they just graduated college and you're like, hey, do you understand PowerPoint? And they're like, yeah, I understand PowerPoint. Cool. Then I want you to create a PowerPoint presentation on first-time homebuyer programs and how people with limited down payment can buy a home using first-time homebuyer programs. Well, I'm sure they could research online and find it, but they're probably not going to get all the right information. They're probably not going to present it in a way that's going to be what you want it to be. And so you need to think for a moment, what information do I need and what expert should I be talking to? And so we're going to start, I'm just going to use that as a random example and say, hey, maybe you want to maybe you as let's use you as a realtor, because most of you on here are realtors. You want to create a flyer for an open house that talks about ways that people can buy a home with no money out of pocket in California. Okay. So the first thing you always want to do is you want to prime the system. It's kind of like priming the pump. It's like the choke we used to have on old model cars, right? You gotta get it ready to turn it on. So you don't just want to say an idea of a bad prompt is to say give me a creative flyer on down payment assistance programs. That is very generic, and you never want to do that. Now, you might get something decent. You might not. By the way, what you're noticing is I'm on if you're on the paid version, you can switch to something called reasoning. And so reasoning thinks a little bit. It doesn't just give you an immediate answer. It actually thinks and says, well, let's see what you're trying to do. And it actually says behind the scenes, hey, the user is asking for a flyer on down payment assistance programs. So first, I'll make sure to point out key aspects like eligibility, benefits, and how to apply. I'm thinking of some headlines and it gives you some things of what it's thinking. I think this format will make it clear and easy to follow. Okay, for the flyer, I know I need to include key details like program benefits, things for reduced down payment and special interest rates, but which programs to mention? I'm thinking of general ones like FHA programs or local government programs or nonprofit offerings. I'll keep it to text for now. And maybe I'll use bullet points to clarify. A nice balance between text and structure might work well. So reasoning allowed the computer to think, to make some, well, maybe I should do this and maybe I should do that. And so that's one of the benefits you get. I make no money, by the way, when you buy the paid version of ChatGPT, but it lets the system think through what you're trying to accomplish. Versus if I did this same prompt and I instead used just a regular non-reasoning model, so 4.0, ChatGPT is pretty confusing on the different models, so all you really need to know is 4.0, 4.5 just came out. So 4.0 and then 0.3. So those are kind of this is your regular model, and then these are your thinking models. And so if I just put this into a regular model and I ask the exact same thing, oh, now my mouse is not happy. All right, there we go. All right, it's not going to think at all. It's just going to create. And it doesn't, it didn't think of any of the things that the reasoning model did. I doubt we're going to get any much different of an answer. You're just going to get what it guesses you're talking about. And so that's a bad, that's not horrible, but it's starting to say, okay, hey, here's what we got. Here's some programs you may qualify for. Oh, you're a first-time home buyer or haven't owned a home in the last 3 years. Well, that's true for some programs, but some programs don't have that same rule, so you got to be careful there. Income requirements, yeah, that's pretty generic. Minimum credit score, but they're not talking about what the minimum credit score is. And then they're talking, hey, grants, there's free money, there's forgivable loans. I don't know about you, but there's very few grants, there's very few forgivable loans. And so it really didn't tell us anything specific. So this was the non-reasoning scenario. If we go back over here and I pull up the first one that I did, it's not going to be that much better. Like, it's okay. They thought about it. They're like, yeah, maybe we just need to be more direct because they're thinking our audience is someone that we want to get that is, we need to help them understand why they should go this direction. And so it's being more leading. I like it. I like it a little better, but it still isn't great. I don't love this. It doesn't really give very good information. And so instead, what I would do is I'd prime the system. I'm going to go to the regular model. And I would say, I am a real estate agent. I'm not, and I don't want to tell ChatGPT I am. I am doing this project for a real estate agent. I want you to act as an expert in sales and marketing for residential home sales. I first want you to gather information about all down payment assistance programs you can find that apply to homes in Roseville, California. And I'm going to add the search button. So I'm giving it context. I'm saying, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. So before I have you create a flyer, I want you to do some research for me. By the way, I've never done this, so this is all being done live. If it messes up, it's Jose Chavez's fault. Jose, I see at the top of the screen. All right, so it's going to give me a list of information. It's going to say, okay, so we've got Cal HAFA. They have the Cal Plus program and the My Home Assistance program. I got FHA. I got Unison Homebuyer. I have literally never heard of Unison Homebuyer, but there's a link right here and I can click on it and it'll take me over here and, oh, Unison Home Ownership. Okay, I'm going to read this and I'm going to say yay or nay. So cool. And now I'm going to come back here and say, okay, employer and nonprofit assistance programs. Yeah, that's too vague. Like, that isn't really a program. Local bank programs, that's pretty vague. So I'm going to start by turning off search and I'm going to say disregard number 3 and 4 and 5, because I don't really like those. But I'm okay with federal home loan programs. I'm okay with FHA and I'm okay with Cal HAFA. But my lender, John King, told me there's a program with GSFA and it didn't find that. So I'm going to ask it to search again and I'm going to say, I heard there is a program called GSFA. What do you know about that? Remember, the system is super intelligent. It can find anything. You just have to lead it down the road you want to lead it down. Oh yeah, cool. Hey, this is good. It'll work. Assistance up to 5.5% of the purchase price. Minimum credit score of 640, and you don't need to be a first-time home buyer. I love that. I think that would be great for the flyer that I'm creating because that will capture a bigger audience of the people that come to an open house. So I really like that. I can do up to 1 to 4 unit properties. I can do all different types of programs. And so I'm like, all right, I really like this one. But wait, there's another one. The City of Roseville Affordable Housing, when it did its second search, it found something else. Again, it's only human. It makes mistakes. It is not human, but it does make mistakes. So it'll find something new. So I'm reading through this. I'm like, you know what? I actually like this. So I'm going to say, all right, perfect. Great work. I'm nice to my AI systems. They're going to take over the world someday. I want them to see me as a friend. And so I say, please, I say, thank you. I tell it did a good job. Now I want you to create a flyer that would entice a buyer visiting an open house that my realtor is hosting. My goal is to get the buyer to reach out to the realtor to talk about how they can buy a house. I think many of these buyers are window shopping as they think they cannot afford a home. So I want the flyer to talk to them and help them see that they can buy even in today's market. I love the GSFA details. So can you refer to those, but do me a favor and don't mention the name of the program. Just mention the benefits. Let's see what it does. What I did is I primed the system. I did some research. I had it look into different programs, and now the output that I should get should be a lot better. So now what it's telling me, think homeownership's out of reach. Think again. Many believe that owning a home is unattainable in today's market. With the right guidance and resource, your dream home can be a reality. Did you know you may qualify for up to 5.5% of the loan amount to cover down payment and closing costs? I'd call that pretty darn enticing. Flexibility that you don't have to be a first-time home buyer, because I bet you have people walking through your open houses every single day that are saying, yeah, I know, but I don't qualify for those because I owned a home before. Or I own a home now, but I don't have a lot of equity because I bought 2 years ago and I barely am going to get out with paying my realtor fees to buy a different home. So other people are going to say, you know what, John? I can't do this because my credit score is too low. You guys require 700 credit scores for those programs. No, we don't. And there's a forgivable portion. And then here, take the next step. It's much more specific in helping you create what you're trying to get by having framework behind it. Okay. Before I move on, do you guys have questions about how I primed the system and how I created framework behind what it did for me? Post into chat, unmute yourself if you want. I'm not going to hang out long. I'm going to move on if nobody has any questions. All right, cool. So there's 2 things I want to show you in the time that we have left, and they're all going to build off of what we just learned about priming the system. The first one is called a custom GPT. So you notice over here on the left that I have a bunch of links over here. These are actually custom GPTs. What that is a set of priming, a set of rules on something I do over and over and over again. My most recent example is, actually, I'll give you this example. So this is my client meeting summarizer. So when I talk to your buyers, when you refer them to me, subliminal messaging, if you guys aren't picking it up, that's subliminal. When you refer your buyers to me and I talk to them, I ask their permission to record their conversation. And I let them know that I use an AI system to transcribe that so that I make sure I don't miss anything. So I have, instead of me simply uploading the transcript of a conversation into ChatGPT and having to give it instructions every time on what I want as an output, I can set certain rules. I can prime the responses without having to redo that every single time. And here's how you do it. So basically, if you have the paid version, you click on Explore GPTs. And from within the paid version, you can see, so here's my GPTs that I've created, but I can go right up here and I can create, and by the way, you can search and find ones that are already out there. So you can find custom GPTs that have been created by other people. I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. I like to create stuff, and it's super easy to do. So I'm actually going to create exactly what we just did, which is I'm going to create marketing material for open houses because I'm a realtor that does open houses every single weekend. Now uh, not again, let me be clear. ChatGPT keeps a memory of everything that you have said. And so if I put in here, I am a realtor, it's going to memorize, oh, John's a realtor. And now later on, as I'm asking it to create content, it's going to remember John's a realtor. So I don't want to tell it I am a realtor. Okay, you want to be really clear about the things that you are telling it. And if it's not you, then make it clear that you're talking about someone else. So all I'm doing right here is I'm in this create tab. Okay, you guys, this will be recorded. I'll send you a copy of it. It'll be on my YouTube channel. So I'm in this create tab. And it will create this entire app for me simply through me conversing with it. So it says, hey, I'll help you build a new GPT. So you can say something like, make a creative who helps me generate visuals for new products, or make a software engineer who helps me format my code. And so I want to make a content generator to create flyers for real estate agents to provide to their prospective clients. That's it. All right, so it's going to ask me some questions. And it's going to say, cool, all right, so I'm doing a little work here under the hood. It's doing the programming for me. You have to know nothing about programming. And so it's working, and you see this little progress bar is going halfway through. It'll finish up here really quickly, and then it's going to ask me, it's going to prompt me all the way along. And so it's going to say, great, now let's give it a name. How about Real Estate Flyer Pro? You want to go with that, or do you have another name in mind? I love it. Love it. Love it. Perfect. So now it's going to say, okay, cool. Now I'm going to generate a profile picture. So it's going, and by the way, it's already started putting some ideas over here. So generate a flyer for a luxury home listing, create a real estate flyer for a commercial, probably commercial property, design content for an open house flyer, write a flyer showcasing a newly renovated home. Okay, so it created an image and it's putting over here, and I can say, do I like it or do I want to tweak it? Tweak it. Good job. That works. So again, there's nothing I'm doing. I have zero programming experience. I'm not a computer guy in that regard. It is literally walking me through it step by step. So it says, great, it's ready to go. Feel free to test it out. So it's created its own little version already. I'm going to want to tweak it. Okay. So I'm going to want to say, anytime a realtor uses this, start by asking for them to enter their name and contact info so that you can add it to the template. Cool. So it's going to start creating rules. And so I'm thinking, what are the rules that I want? Like, what are the things I want it to ask me? Well, I don't need it to ask me what my name is. I can tell it, hey, every time you do this, my name is John King. And so I'm going to, in a minute, and actually I can show you right here, it's creating all of these rules behind the scenes. You don't have to know how to do this. It will do it for you, but it's creating all of these rules that says, hey, this is who you are as a GPT. This is what this computer program, think of it like you're creating a piece of software. And it says, this is what the software is designed to do. So I'm gonna go back over here and it says, got it. Now, every time a realtor uses Real Estate Flyer Pro, it will first ask their name and contact information. Let me know if you need any other tweaks. I want you to include my contact information on all of their flyers as long as they agree. Cool. Now, I don't know if it's going to know my contact information or not. And so let's see what it does. But my point is, I can now give it more information. I can say, this tool is designed to help people who are, for realtors to use to give flyers about a particular down payment assistance program. And that may be a better way for me to show you the benefit of this, because everything I've done so far has not been, has not needed a custom GPT. So now I'm going to say, great, I want this GPT to focus on helping them create flyers and answer question and content, social media content, videos, etc., that are focused on first-time homebuyers. Can you please research information about CalHFA and GSFA programs and put those programs into the memory of this GPT? Okay, I'm not going to go too far down this rabbit hole. What I'm trying to show you is examples that you could create a custom GPT that knows everything about your business. And I'll show you one in a second that I use, that we've used for the last year and a half to create all of our content, all of my social media, all of my team uses it to create the posts on social media. And so it's doing a little bit of research here. It's found all these details, and it's going to add these details over here into the configuration. But I didn't actually have to do any of the work for this. Okay, so I'm going to wait for it to update. I'm going to let it update that GPT. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to open up a new window, and I'm going to show you. So this is my marketing content advisor. So this is what we have used to create marketing content. And here's what it does. So this is my team's marketing assistant. Its role is planning and advising marketing activities for 2024. I haven't updated it yet for this year because it's worked just fine. And I've got all of these instructions, but the more important thing is I've uploaded files. This file right here is my content marketing Q&A. It interviewed me. So I want you to understand what I did. I went into ChatGPT, and the first thing I did is say, I want you to help me create a template about me and my business that I can use for creating future content. Please start by interviewing me and ask one question at a time. Critical that you say one question at a time. Otherwise, it'll ask me 30 questions and at a time, and wait for my response before asking the next question. Your goal in asking questions is to learn about me and my business focus so that you can create a document that I can refer to in the future when creating content with AI. Okay, I made one mistake, by the way. I always ask it when I give it a complex answer like this, is I say, do you understand what I am asking you to do? I like that question. I strongly recommend that anytime you're trying to create an outcome, if there's nothing you learn from today, it is to ask that question. Do you understand what I'm asking you to do? And it is now going to tell me what it understands. So yes, I understand. I will ask you one question at a time to gather details about you and your business. My goal is to create a reference document you can use in generating AI assistance content. What is your primary role in the business? Now, it knows a lot about me. So it knows I'm a loan officer, I'm a branch manager, I'm a coach of other loan officers, I'm a content creator. So it kind of knows, and so it's cheating a little bit. For most of you that haven't used this at all, it's going to say, what's your role? And so for this purpose, I want you to focus on my role as a loan officer. Cool. What's the next question? Great. What type of clients do I primarily service? Well, at this point, I want to be focused on first-time buyers, move-up buyers, and investors. Okay, what's it going to ask me next? What makes my approach to working with first-time home buyers, move-up buyers, and investors unique? So I can start, it's going to interview me and ask me all these questions. Once you're done, so I'm going to say, I focus on education. I'm going to be super vague. The more information you can give, the better. What do I emphasize on? So I'm going to simply say explaining loan options. So I'm moving quickly on purpose because I want to show you what the system can do with the information. What type of loan programs do I work with, et cetera. And I'm simply going to say, that's enough questions. Please create a downloadable Word document with what you have learned and what else you know about me. Because it knows a lot about me. So I don't actually need to answer very many questions. Okay. So as I'm going through this, I can, it'll review all of the information and it's going to create a document and I can download it. I then take that document and I put it right over here and I upload the file. That's it. So it's interviewed me. It's learned everything that I want it to know about me. Maybe I've refined it and said, you know what, you got this or that wrong. And I think that you should focus on this other direction. And so you talk back and forth with it. It's a conversation that you're having with the system. But what it's allowing you to do is to then take that and upload it right here into the knowledge base of this custom GPT. So now, cool, here's the about me and my business. And it just downloaded it. And let's see what it looks like. Ronaldo asked a question about where is the best place to get more training on how to use ChatGPT. YouTube. Honestly, start at YouTube. You can get a lot of information there. By the way, this knows a lot about me. So it created a whole document here, different loan programs, my focus. And again, it didn't add a whole lot because I didn't answer a lot of questions, but you could use this in any different area of your business, any different area of your life. This is just a tool that allows you to leverage the system better. And it's about asking quality questions and it's about giving it good instructions. So you want to slow down because everybody gets upset with AI saying, oh my gosh, it makes stuff up. It hallucinates. It's not giving me real answers. Well, you have to give it the right context. And so you have to ask questions, have it investigate, make sure that it's thinking the right things, then ask it to create your final output. Okay. So as an example, I can now go to my marketing content advisor and say, what ideas do you have for Facebook posts today? And it knows everything about me. And so it says, well, based on my marketing plan and my audience, I could do a market update post and it's going to write the post for me and give me a complete breakdown of what I'm doing. How about a first-time home buyer tip? And it gives me the idea of the post. It gives me a call to action, an idea of an image. So it's confused because it's not Tuesday, it's Thursday, but it knows I do webinars. And so maybe I can do a post about one of my webinars that I'm going to be doing or post a story. So it is giving me ideas from a super simple prompt, okay? Versus if I went into, let's go here. Grok knows very little about me. So if I just go here and I say that, I'm not sure what it's going to tell me. By the way, Grok is thinking, and so it's going to take time and it's trying to figure it out. ChatGPT will do the same thing. What I'm trying to show you is Grok has very little context. When you first start using ChatGPT, it'll have very little context about you and who you are. And so I can't simply ask a vague question, what ideas do you have for a Facebook post today? Because it has no idea who I am. So it says, okay, well, hey, you could do a fun poll. You could do some storytelling questions about summer memories. I could do something that's funny. That had nothing to do with mortgage. Versus right here, it knows I'm in mortgage. So if I'm doing a Facebook post, it already knows that I'm in mortgage and it knows enough about me to, oh, realtor engagement, because hey, engaging with realtors is a pretty big deal for me. And so it knows and it's giving me an idea, hey, this is something else. And if I don't like any of those, I would say, nope, give me 10 more without all the description, and I will pick from there. So use it as a brainstorming partner. So say, nope, I don't like any of those. And so it's now going to give me 10 more really quick ideas. From those really quick ideas, I often will tell it what I like and what I don't like. And so I'll give it feedback. And I'll say, you know what? I love number 2 and 5. Can we, so which ones do I want to use? I have no idea. I didn't even read any of them. Number 2, 5, and 8. Give me 20 more, give me 5 more ideas like that. So I'm taking a big list, I'm refining it down to the few that I like, and then I'm saying, give me more ideas. So it's when you're trying to be creative and brainstorming, make it a conversation. Go back and forth asking it questions. So, hey, it's giving me some good feedback. Awesome picks. Here's 5 more like it. Which one do you want to run with? I'm like, you know what? I like number 1. Let's do number 1. Number 1. Help me write it. And it will walk me through. Remember, this is my marketing content advisor. I've already primed it in advance by creating the custom GPT. So it's the thing I want you guys to take away from today is if you can learn how to use a custom GPT, they're super easy to create. But if there's a repetitive thing that you go back to AI over and over again, maybe you use it to create an image for a YouTube video you're doing. It has an image generator in there. So instead of every single time having to tell it why it's creating an image and what the purpose of the image is, create a custom GPT that is designed with instructions. And those instructions very clearly tell you this is what you're supposed to do for me, so you don't have to repeat it again. And so here it wrote me a message. I can use this one if I want. I can change it. Guys, I want to really go slow today and dive in deeper. And so I want to pause for a second and ask for questions. So I'm gonna not just ask for questions, but ask for some participation. So has anybody, first of all, does anybody have any questions? Feel free to raise your hand or unmute. Or I want to get some success stories on anybody that has used ChatGPT and how they've used it successfully in their business. Jose, you're the only one strong, brave enough to have your video on. So what do you think, buddy? You got to click the unmute button. There you
There it
are.
is. There it is. Well, I didn't know my camera was on, so my bad.
No, I love
No,
it.
I'm just kidding. I knew my camera was on. I haven't used it much, and I appreciate this. I mean, I've seen other classes, but this was pretty good. Building your own chat GPT model, basically. That was really good. I think I'm gonna dive into that a little bit. But yeah, I haven't used it much, to be honest with you, which is why I'm on this class.
Well, I appreciate you being here. I think that it's overwhelming. Would you agree it's overwhelming?
It's a little much, especially for folks that really aren't into technology and a lot of us that are just busy with life and business. Like, do I have to learn one more thing? I think
Yep.
that's the bigger issue, right? I got to learn one more thing, one more program, one more thing, one more follow-up model, et cetera, et cetera. Just so much learning.
Um, I think of this like the internet 25 years ago. And, hey, well, do I have to learn the internet? Like, I'm okay with my MLS book, or I'm okay with the phone book. Like, why do I need to have the ability to look up people's phone numbers online when I can go to the phone book?
Right.
This is not going away. Like, unlike other things that are like, oh my gosh, I have to learn a new CRM. You can live without a CRM. You can get a spreadsheet. You can get pen and paper. I firmly believe that AI systems like this. Now, remember, this is very, very different. These are called large language models. Again, like I said in the beginning, this is a chat system. You're just talking to a really smart brain, and you can ask it anything you want. And so this is very, very different than, oh man, I'm going to buy this AI tool and I'm going to buy that AI tool. And somebody just called me and is selling me on an AI tool that's going to write all of my property descriptions for me. Those are all new tools you're learning, and you're paying a monthly fee for every single one of those. I think there's some that have value, but I'm not a fan of that because those are just more dollars out of your pocket every single time that you sign up for a new one, and that one only serves that specific purpose. I want you to think of the whether it be ChatGPT, whether it be Gemini, which is Google's version. I want you to think of it like you think of a web browser. I don't go on Google to search things anymore. I literally go here first. So I will go and say, give me some ideas, give me some recipes, ideas for filet mignon. I think I'm spelling it wrong. Minion. I don't know. Filet minion. I think I'm cooking a little yellow minion right now. Anyway, it'll know what I'm saying. I pay $20 a month for ChatGPT.
They don't have a audio version so where you can speak into it so you don't have to worry about your spelling.
Correct. They do. They do. I can't use it because my audio is being used to record this. But you absolutely can. So give me some ideas of recipes for filet mignon, and I wonder what would be some good side dishes. Which that might be something like, hey, I'm thinking about just trying a new recipe, and you might go onto Google and just search for it and say, hey, I'm looking for an idea for something for dinner tonight, and what can I do? All right, well, I could do a pan-seared filet. I could do a filet with red wine. See, there's a G in there. All right. Anyway, it knew what I was doing. So I have all of these options, and I can say, ooh, I actually like number 5. So let's go number 5. So give me the recipe for number 5. I don't even have to repeat it. Like when I Google it, I'd have to Google like specifically when I do my next search in Google, I have to repeat what I'm saying to give it context. This is just a conversation. And so when I say number 5, first of all, I misspelled recipe. It knows what I'm talking about. I do know how to spell recipe. That was just a typo. But it now gives me a great recipe. Here's the thing. It's making it up every single time. So if you love this recipe or you think you're going to love it, you need to save it. Because if I go back in and ask it again and I say, give me a recipe for filet mignon, Oscar style, it's going to make up a different one. It's got all of the knowledge of the entire internet at its disposal. And it is literally randomly, and this is going to be a little confusing, but it's not searching any website right now. It's going into its own memory and simply saying, what's the next logical word that I should say to answer this question? And so it starts with, okay, well, if he wants number 5, then the first word I should give is the name of the recipe. And then it says, well, what should I say next? A. Well, what's the next word? Luxurious sounds good. And then what's the next word? Steak, dish. Like it didn't pre-plan the entire sentence. Kind of like how we think. Like sometimes right now, I am speaking the words as I think them. Okay. I didn't pre-plan what I'm about to say. I know an idea of what I want to say, but each word just comes out because it makes sense after the next word. That's what this system is doing. So why am I making that point? Because next time, if I could literally right now, so this is saying 1 tablespoon of olive oil to well, here, I'll do this. I'm gonna print screen this really quickly, and then I'm going to regenerate the response. And when I regenerate it, I don't want to switch. I want to edit. I just added please, but it's going to start over. and the words are all different. Okay, because it's not pulling something from the internet saying, well, this is what I copied. It's creating it on the fly. Okay, so Angelique asked a great question. How do you save it? Now that looks pretty close, but I don't know that I had thyme or rosemary on the last recipe. I didn't pay that much attention, but it's a different recipe every single time because it's literally just creating it on the spot. So every time you ask it a question, it's creating a new version of that. It's not changing it on purpose. It just has no memory of what it just did. It knows what it's talked to you about so far, but if I ask it to recreate the same thing again, it won't. And so Angelique says, how do I save it? It's really simple. Wow. Love this. Please make it a downloadable Word doc. Now I have a Word document. Now I can save that Word document to my computer. I can print it. I can do whatever I want with it. But ChatGPT has the ability to take anything that you've done and make it into a downloadable Word document, which we saw a couple minutes ago. And so now it's going to, once it's done analyzing, I'm simply going to click on that document and it's going to download to my computer. I did that. Actually, I'm using this because it's a real life example. And my wife and I did a filet mignon recipe, I don't know, 6 months ago. And thankfully, I downloaded it because I was searching back and saying, what the heck? I don't remember that. And now I found it on my download. Linda, you have some questions. I am ready.
Hey, John. Okay, so first question. Could you say to your chat BT or could you say to it, hey, you just gave me a recipe like 30 minutes ago, bring it back up? Like it won't remember that?
So it's a very, very smart, very forgetful assistant. Okay.
Oh.
Very, 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 very smart, but very forgetful. And so it'll remember, so it actually has a memory. And so I can go, actually, I think I will go here and I go settings and I go to personalization and manage memories. Okay. So this is everything it knows about me. For example, here's one of the newest things it realized. I literally said it this morning because I was doing some programming. I am a geek. Okay. I don't know anything about code, but I learned that AI can create code for me. So I'm creating some cool calculators that I'm going to share with my realtor friends. And so I literally said in one of my comments, I'm super excited to use HTML in my ClickFunnels account for my mortgage business. And so it said, that's a key memory. That's something that we might want to know about John later. So I'm gonna memorize that. I'm gonna put that over here on a shelf that says I'm gonna remember that thing. I have access to a personalized credit optimization tool that we call Credit Expert. And I don't know why it decided to pick that, but it decided that when I talked about that, ChatGPT decided, you know what, that's something important about John I may want to know later. I have a coaching call at noon with these particular students. Cool. I created a project so lots of different things that I have done that it remembers about me. So I want to brainstorm marketing ideas for my mortgage business for 2025 because at one point I said, hey, I need your help brainstorming marketing ideas. And so it felt like, well, that's something important to know about John. I want to host at least 2 client events per year. When I was talking about business planning at the end of 2024, and I was conversing with ChatGPT about business planning ideas, and I had talked about some of the ideas of what I wanted to do. Well, it decided, you know what, I think that's pretty important. And so it memorized that I want to do pictures with Santa and I want to do a movie event and maybe do an online bingo. So now if I went into ChatGPT and said, hey, give me some ideas of client events, it's going to pull from there because
Selective memory.
It's got selective memory. That's exactly correct.
Okay.
Does that help or does we have?
Yes.
Okay.
So
What other questions do you have?
my other question was, so with Ashley and I, so we have 2 businesses. We have our real estate business and then we have our staging business. So we could differentiate, correct? Like say, hey, this is what I do. Now I want to talk about my staging business. I mean, it should have the capability to differentiate, correct?
It does. And you noticed when I had said interview me, it said, well, which role do you want me to use?
Oh.
Because it knows that I'm a loan officer. It knows that that I run a mortgage branch. It knows that I'm a professional coach. It knows that I create content. I've got a YouTube channel. So it says, well, here's the four jobs I think you have. Which one do you want me to focus on? So that it would do the same thing. You've got to train it. Remember,
Gotcha.
think of it like an intern that is like the smartest intern you've ever hired, and you only pay them $20 a month. Okay. But you have to remind them of things because they don't understand you and your business. It's got selective memory. And that's where priming the system, where you would have, for example, a custom GPT over here that is specifically focused to your staging business and says, hey, this GPT is focused on helping me create content for my staging business. This other one is helping me create content for my real estate business, or helping me brainstorm ideas of how to be more efficient with my day. Maybe you want those ideas to be segregated between the two businesses. A simple way to do it is just to create a custom GPT, but it is not necessary. You just might need to tell it, hey, remember, I have two jobs. And right now I want you to, one of the things I said in the beginning, you have to tell it, who am I, the user, and who are you, the AI system, going to be during this conversation? So think of it like a role play. Every conversation you're saying, hey, I'm going to be the owner of a staging company because I do own a staging company. And so I want you today in this conversation to treat me as the owner of my staging company. And I want you to be an expert accountant. I need help coming up with ideas to minimize the taxes that I'm paying in my staging business. And as an expert accountant in my industry, what ideas do you have? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I use this for any number of different things, and it's replaced Google for me. Meaning if I'm going to Google something and say, you know what, I want to save some money on taxes, what ideas do I have? You're finding pages that are written for one specific at one specific moment with one specific topic in mind, and you're going to pull a little bit from it. Instead, what you're doing here is you're actually talking to an expert. Another way people talk about this is think of them like an expert librarian that has read every book in the library. And so instead of you having to go to any of the books in the library, you just have to tell her, hey, this is what I need your help with. This is what I'm trying to do. But you got to recognize she's literally read every single book. And so you need to be really specific on what you're asking, because otherwise that librarian might say, oh, let me tell you all about this. And you're like, no, that wasn't what I wanted, because your question was too vague. And this librarian has memorized every book in the Library of Congress. So you got to give them really clear instructions, and the more clear you can make it, the better off you are. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions you have, Linda?
No, that's it.
Okay. I've got 7 minutes left. I have a couple things I can cover, but I love the interactive questions. Does anybody else have any questions that you want to ask me right now? Elizabeth had a question. Let's see here. All right. Elizabeth said, I watched something on TV about ChatGPT and it says it uses a lot more energy than if you did a search on the internet. I'm sure that it does. I mean, when it comes to the big picture of how much computing power an AI system uses compared to searching the internet, I believe you. I think you're 100% correct. I think that I think I don't know how to answer that, Elizabeth. I think you're right. Personally, I'm not sure that's going to change my opinion on using it. I think that the answers I get, I still Google some things, but for the most part, I get way better customized answers, and there's a cost to everything. And so to me, that is a cost of, me having an office. Me right now, I have big lights on me that make me look better because I want to look good on screen. So that's taking more energy. It's costing me money on my energy bill, but I think it's worth it. So that's the best answer I have for you there. All right. I'm going to stop sharing and just give you guys a couple of minutes of quick concepts. This system, super smart. It knows everything about everything. But what you want to do to get the best results AIPRM. I have heard of AIPRM. That's one of those tools, Ronaldo, that I'm not a fan of any of those tools. It's, if I'm not mistaken, AIPRM is one of the tools that can help you create better prompts. The truth is, I ask AI a lot to help me create a better prompt. And I'll give you an example, and I'm going to share my screen again really quickly. So let's do a new, am I sharing yet? Nope. Now I am. All right, so I'm going to create a new chat, and I'm going to say, help me create a good prompt, AI prompt. So everybody worries about how do I prompt the AI? The AI is super smart. Ask it to help you write a better prompt. I want to learn about how to save money if I owned a staging business. Thoughts? So I'm not asking it to give me the answer. I'm asking it to help me create a prompt. Okay. And so it's saying, okay, well, here's a strong prompt to get useful insights on saving money in a staging business. I own a staging business and I want to optimize costs while maintaining quality. What are the best strategies to save money on furniture, decor, storage, transportation, and labor? Also, how can I maximize profits through smart pricing, partnerships, and leveraging digital tools? Please provide specific, actionable advice. I got to tell you, that's pretty awesome. So Linda's the only one that's going to tell us whether she thinks that's awesome or not. I'm not going to paste this in here because then ChatGPT is going to think that I own a staging business. But, and by the way, guys, there'll be a handout, and I'll send you the link to get the handout you can download, and it goes through some of the things I've talked about and give you other ideas to creating better prompts. But I got to tell you, the simplest thing to do is ask the AI system to help you create a prompt. So this prompt was no good. So I went with a big filter. Linda says, awesome. So I went with, I've got all of the information about the entire world, and I don't know how to ask it a question to get the answer I want. And so I ask it a question to give me the information to ask better questions. Now I can put that prompt in there. So you got to think you have a canvas in front of you that has a huge amount of information. Am I still sharing my screen? I don't think so. Jose, am I sharing my screen still? Yes, I am. Okay, cool. All right, that's fine. All right, so I have a canvas that's providing me a huge amount of information. There we go. Let's stop sharing the screen. All right, so I have a canvas here. It knows everything about everything that's out there. And so you have to think of it like a funnel. I have so much information. If I start at the funnel that has so much information and I try and get a very detailed answer, you're trying to go from this to this in one step. And instead start asking questions in that conversation. So the conversation starts as a blank slate. And you start saying, hey, as a realtor, I also own a staging business and I'm looking to get better at staging. So first of all, what do you know about real estate staging businesses? So ask it a question. What do you know about it? Now, I don't really care what it knows. I know a lot about real estate staging businesses because I own one if I'm Linda. But I'm telling the system, hey, tell me what you know about being a residential real estate agent and what and give me and think about what makes a real estate agent successful compared to other agents. And now you've put that thought into the brain of the computer system. Now it lived there already, but it lived there in like the long-term memory, and you want to bring it into the current memory. Okay, so if I wanted to talk to you about a specific thing that happened when you were a kid, and I said, hey, tell me your favorite memory from being a kid, and it's like I don't really know. But if I instead said, hey, tell me about your childhood. Where'd you grow up? What'd you do? What was your favorite things to do? Who was your best friend? Where did you go to school? What things did you enjoy doing? By asking you all those questions, your brain is now like living in your childhood. After I asked you all those questions, if I said, tell me your favorite memory of your childhood, you'd have an amazing answer right then. Because I got your brain thinking about your childhood by asking you a bunch of questions about your childhood. Then I asked you the important question. If you start with the final question of what you need to know, you're going to get a random answer because it's going to guess. I don't know what direction they're going. I don't have any context to this. So don't think of it like a web search where you simply ask a question directly and get an answer directly. You want to think of it like a conversation with someone, and the more context you put into the conversation, the better results you'll get from the questions you ask at the end of the conversation. Guys, we are right up at 12 o'clock, so I've timed this perfectly. I really appreciate you all joining. I'll be doing this again the first Thursday of every month. My idea is to have a topic that we can talk about. Next month, I'm going to talk about deep research. So there's a whole area going into deep research and what that means. Literally, you could have a college level thesis paper written on any topic you want, and AI is going to do it for you. So you can really get very ingrained detail about stuff using deep research. I'm going to talk about that next month, first Thursday of next month. And I'll also have time for Q&A, so make sure that you join, bring your questions, and I'm looking forward to helping guide you guys. By the way, I'm not a nonprofit organization. I do get paid for doing mortgages, so if you know somebody who needs to buy or refinance, give me a call. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.